Welcome back, everybody, to the Call of Duty Challengers League community broadcast here. We just had map number 1, although you guys didn't get to see it because we had a very small technical issue on our end, but it's okay because we're back. Our beautiful faces are back here to cast some Call of Duty. Alan, things didn't go exactly as expected there for Belgian Power, the team which, of course, took both hard points last time around. This time, didn't happen.
Yeah, 250-173 was the final score. We didn't really get to see much either because it was just a full-on power loss from our end. So, your best guess is our best guess when it comes down to how things kind of unfolded. Really, the only thing we could really pick out was the fact that we did see Genesis drop a lot of damage. So he had to have been some sort of a playmaker when it came down to how things had gone through. But yeah, Hardpoint did go the way of GCPW. So it leads us into a standoff search and destroy for map number 2. And this is where I'm really kind of curious to see if GCPW is really recovered after their loss versus Team War, because they did get beat down pretty badly here on standoff. And just based on what we were able to see kind of watching along with the game, there was not a lot of map control that GCPW ever truly had. One of the rounds that they won was a 1v1, and then they actually lost 1v1, just won it based off of time. And the other, I think, was something very similar. So I'm really curious to see if GCPW is actually going to be able to put together a good search and destroy here, because we know that Belgian Power is going to want to probably play pretty aggressive when it comes down to the standoff.
Yeah, I mean, I will say one thing, which is that technically speaking, GCPW should have an advantage in search and destroy, simply down to the fact that they have been together longer as a foursome. I mean, they've been together for 2 stages, more or less now, whereas obviously Belgian Power effectively came together for Open number 4. That being said, I mean, these teams have been together long enough now that they should have their search and destroy down. So we'll see how it goes into standoff search and destroy. Of course, again, last time these teams faced off, it was 6-4 to GCPW, although, as we said, I mean, when we watched these guys in search and destroy, there were some serious mistakes on both sides. Like it was not good to watch, really. Yeah. So if they can fix some of those gaps, honestly, this could well be a 6-0 for one of these teams. If one of these teams just decides to paper over their gaps here a little bit in the gameplay, honestly, who knows how this is going to go. But we're going to be into it anyway, regardless. GCPW going to kick things off on the offense.
Yeah, there were, the big thing when we talk about the mistakes that were being made, and again, I'm not a big fan of the whole this team has recently put together so their search and destroy is going to be bad conversation. It's beyond the first dimension what happens. When things start to go wrong, how do you recover? And there will be an even exchange early. Brezzy did get enough damage done to PD to force a team kill. So we'll go 3v3, but the big problem here for GCPW is the fact that the bomb is down just outside of A.
That's going to be tough for GCPW to recover, of course. If they can get an advantage elsewhere, that would be helpful. Nice tracking from Genesis through the wall. Have that and not bad. Lunacy, he's going to go down. Now, Maple and Abuser in a 2 versus 3 here. Still have the position in hand. Genesis does retrieve the bomb. Does he get out?
He should be fine to do so. And you do have Chain in that stapled position, topside Brown. He was actually one of the key players for GCPW last time we watched them play this map. Genesis will get a plant off with that overwatch of Chain from Beyond. Maple's doing what he can to fight up against his former teammate. Does well to find the elimination, and things will go to a 2v2, but Genesis has slipped around the back. Abuza's going to find him. Just down to can you actually corral these kills?
And if you're Genesis here, you just effectively need to waste time. Just bait out Abuser so that he is not focused on that bomb site. Just keep on playing Ring Around the Rosie around Grandma's house. Genesis has done exactly that. Puts the shots into Abuser, and now, of course, the information is there. Whalers wins an important one inside Brown against Maple, so now Abuser has it all to do. Nice shot punch coming in for the first kill. Now just going to jump straight on this defuse. Whalers should check this in time, and there you go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy for Whalers to get it done. And really, for me, that entire play for GCPW, even though it gets a little bit hairy in the end towards that 2 versus 2, comes off the back of Linny, even making that progression over towards the Kebab shop.
Oh, for sure. And you have to keep in mind, why is that allowed to happen? Chain up top is going to be a problem. It was the last time when we watched GCPW play, he was even in the point where he was able to earn streaks or get close to earning streaks just by holding that position defensively 2 rounds in a row. I mean, he's a kill magnet up there. So for me, for Belgian Power, that is going to be something interesting to kind of keep in the conversation next time they're on defense if they want to challenge. But now that trophies are down, you expect GCPW to get a little bit aggressive on their defense, and they will. Abuza will be checked by a stun, but pretty inconsequential. This is just going to be a rotation for Belgian Power. Looks like they actually do want to try to force in some members down Main Street, potentially over through this corner by Brown, see if they can maybe find an opening over towards this B side early.
You want to be careful. As soon as you make it known that this is where you're going, GCPW will start to ready themselves for this hit. How ready are they? That's going to be the question. You've got PE inside the box, Whalers outside. Brezzy just going to be playing this one slow for the moment. Here comes the jump. Abuser comes down. PD ends up losing that fight. Whalers goes as well. And that's an execution and a half coming from Belgian Power. Perfectly done. I had that one written down before they went for it, and now GCPW 2 versus 4. Got to make a hell of a retake.
It's all about timing here, Genesis versus Maple, but unfortunately, Genesis not able to catch the timing as he would have liked, so now he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, and as you lose Chain, you lose the round. So, yeah, no, really good stuff here from Belgian Power. I love that setup through the middle of the map. You're very cautious. You're actually not even throwing any trophy systems down whatsoever. You just want to see who's throwing what from where, and then once you get to read that, hey, yeah, they did stun check over the top of the A-bomb site, Abuza just makes a really nice aggressive play over the top, gets that little jump peak like you mentioned, a little bit of damage early. It opens up the bomb site completely, and to the point where defensively for GCPW, there's only one of two options. Either play the long flank or try to win something from the front, and in a 2v4, neither are great options unless Genesis were able to find a timing. So really good stuff there. And now the curiosity really starts to come to the forefront. For Belgian Power, are you going to try to contest Chain up top in Brown? Because you have to feel like he's going to go there again.
You would imagine so. At the moment, I'm going to do it just yet. GCPW, I mean, they have been given control of the A-bomb site here. Not entirely sure what the play was from Belgian Power. I mean, generally speaking, that is always a misplay to try and go for a retake. You need some form of A control. They just don't have it.
Now they're going to try to overwhelm the back here. And Shane, who we mentioned, is not going to be playing up top Brown. He's going to be watching the push through Brown this time. And him and Whalers working side by side have locked this down completely. They know Lenny's in the back as well. No problem here. Yeah, curious. I mean, because Belgian Power, they don't use any trophies last round. So
yeah,
the fact that they don't drop any over towards the front of A to get aggressive this time around is also a bit puzzling. So I'd be really curious to know what exactly the attempt was for Belgian Power there, because that was a flank that realistically didn't have much of a chance because they didn't get early Brown control. I mean, they had to clear Brown and gas station. And by the time you do, Kane's already in a position to watch you make this rotation.
It just felt like a really weird play call, if I'm honest. Like, we've seen
something
the rather dangerous effect, right, of you just leaving the A-bomb site open. You need to have somebody over there at the very least to know what's going on, right? Just even if you don't hold strong or you pull back, at least then you can make a retake as a team. And by that point, it's too little, too late. They make their retake around the back line. It doesn't work out, and well, GCPW going to come out on top of that round. They'll be happy with what is effectively a free round. Now Belgian Power, we'll see how they respond. Trying to make their way through. Abuser will actually get that first kill against Genesis. That's going to scare P.
Another moment where you kind of wonder for GCPW, if you're trying to aggressively contest gas station, you just had 3 members over there. None of them threw a nade. So this is an easy cleanup. This is the mistakes that we were looking at last time we saw Belgian Power play. It was on an express search and destroy when they were playing rejects, but it's like you're trying to overwhelm an area. You're not using any nades to clear. Whalers is going to keep this round alive, at least marginally, but I mean, to trust him to go 1v4 is not what you want to see.
If Whalers does this 1 versus 4, I don't know. This is surely not going to happen, right? Prezi spots him out. Should put a stop to this now. Makes him very weak here. Whalers is going to go for it. Maple on the tank, though. Has the heady to get it done. And yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head right there early in the round. Just a few key mistakes from GCPW once again here.
Where are the nades?
Yeah,
that's the big thing. I mean, you're not going to throw a trophy system in the backside of gas station from the offensive side of things because you're trying to essentially catch people by surprise when you make that rotation through back alley. And defensively, you 3-man stack over towards the backside of Delhi, and no one throws a nade to even check to see if there's anyone back there. And I mean, it was really not a double chow either. It was just kind of a bit mismanaged. So in Belgian Power take advantage just by holding the angle and waiting to see if there's aggression that come to them. It's very puzzling, to be sure.
Well, they're going to start setting aside these mistakes sooner rather than later. Right now, 2-2 in the search and destroy. Not much to separate these squads at the moment. GCPW looking to put their noses out in front with a play here. And I love this. This is the kind of play that you want to see. The question is, how do you deal with Maple on this tank? Does Chain try to throw some shoulders as PT comes out and gets the kill?
All right, you don't have to deal with Maple. He's already pinned. PD's got a free route here. This is absolutely brilliant from GCPW. Brizzy, though, with the trade. So it will stay really neutral. But yeah, I love that route from GCPW. It allows him a chance now to get under the B-bomb side and plant for free.
Well, numbers advantage as well. Abuser and Brezzy down to 2. Can they make something of this? Abuser, of course not. Brezzy, last player left up,
good.
dealt with really quickly. And yeah, that right there, it feels like we're just watching two different S&D teams at the moment in terms of GCPW. And that might sound like maybe a bit of a dramatic call, but I mean, GCPW at the moment, considering what we've seen from in the past, that is a really good S&D play call.
I love it. It's chain up top at Brown. Yeah, he's the one responsible for making sure Maple doesn't get freed up beyond the tank. But I want to say Genesis, before he goes to play this bomb, he's got an AR in hand. I'm pretty sure he was watching Top Grandmas. So the entire play is trying to get PD forwards and then eventually either get into a position to where he can challenge bottom Grandmas or even more importantly, take control of the defensive tank, which of course was the ladder that he's able to find. That's absolutely brilliant and something that I think Belgian Power is really going to have shake them up next time they come through defensively. This time again, though, they're going to try to make the same play over through Brown. You've still got Abuza watching this back corner alley, and GCPW is actually not going to be playing all that aggressive here. They also have thrown some nades to check to see what's going on as well.
Brezzy's going to get dealt with first. Chain is going to get traded out there. Nice kill from Abuser to make sure that GCPW don't get the favor too heavily in this round. And as a matter of fact, killed by Linny on a Whalers. Our position is fallen. I think Pete is going to have quite a lot to do here over on the tractor. He's facing now 3 players from Belgian Power. Genesis is a world away. Do they know where Pete is? They have some idea that there's a player around. Trophy system's in, and Pete gets that first kill. Can he get the second as well? Abuser not going to trade it just yet. Messy replay here. But it comes down to a 1 versus 2 for Genesis. He will end up falling. Belgian Power, they just have the number in the situation to overwhelm there.
Yeah, the initial trade through Delhi is kind of negligible. It's really not a win or a loss for either team. It's what comes immediately after that when you start to see the full Brown control come through, because it leaves PD essentially in a position where he's got to play 1v question mark the entire round. And then the late rotate that comes out is never going to be there in time. It's just never going to be there to help. So it's essentially you put 2 players on an island, pressing them to watch either bomb site. And yeah, Belgian Power just take advantage of the numbers in that situation. Although PD does get a really good look at maybe a 1v2. If he wins that second, the round gets completely turned on top of its head because that's the bomb that's also down there. But yeah, I think just generally speaking, it's just better opening trades from Belgian Power. You know, you get the first out of Delhi. The second one tries to give you the same work, but you can't really fully get through. You got Brown control. You get a long-range crossing angle offensively, find a second pick, and from there on out, it's just 2 different defensive players that are completely isolated on either site. So really good isolation for Belgian Power. But beyond that, you know, just as far as how things have gone so far, there have been, again, a couple of miscues, missteps here and there. The first dimension of some of these attacks have been looking pretty solid. It's just what comes next. You know, are we actually fully covering our bases before we actually try to go in and try to get this bomb planted? We've seen for GCPW, that little play with PD, I think was probably the best that we've seen so far from the attacking half. Beyond that, they also had that really quick takeover by A where they just planted for free. So I think there are some questions here on both sides defensively as far as how they're going to be able to adjust and adapt as we get back into the reset.
I gotta say, I feel like a little bit of it is just sometimes these players, they feel like they're missing the fundamentals. And I know that might sound really weird, but what I mean by that is, you know, when it comes to Sound of Search and Destroy, the map can be very much easily broken down to. A is necessarily, it's basically the easier bomb site to get to because, you know, B, you're going to have somebody sat in Kebab. Effectively, if you can overwhelm players on A, you get control of it. The round may as well be yours because it's really hard to retake that site. And sometimes I feel like these players are maybe overthinking the situation a little bit in terms of what they want to do in the rounds. There are a few key mistakes, a few key slip-ups here, which if GCPW and Belgian Power weren't playing each other right now, if they were playing, you know, something like August and Mavericks, it wouldn't fly. It wouldn't fly. But that's what this kind of matchup is for, right? At the end of the day, in terms of, you know, you're trying to get yourself through this matchup, and then of course you face either Elevate or War, which I'm not really sure how that match is going right now. Of course, the winner of that one will be making it through to the next round of play. We're just waiting right now for Brezzy to rejoin the lobby. When he does, we'll be restarting again, I believe, from 3 to 3. I don't think there's any reason to not do that. So all even Stevens at the moment. Not much to split these guys in Search and Destroy. Just a reminder for everybody at home, Belgian Power currently 1-0 down in the series of GCPW. The loser of this one is going to be going home. And so far, as you say, Shift, it has just been a Search and Destroy, a rather tumultuous one for everybody across the board.
Speed chess is how I'm going to categorize it. It's just everyone's making moves very, very quickly, and that sometimes leaves you a little bit vulnerable. That's the big key at the moment. There have been a couple of predetermined moves that I think have worked really nicely for both squads, but generally speaking, it does feel a bit like speed chess, where we're just going to make sure we're playing our game and we're not really adjusting too much to what's happening on the other front. As we get deep into this round, though, again, a very quick plant for GCPW. A couple of even shades leave us to a 3v2 favoring the post plant.
And from what we could see, Belgian Power once again made the mistake of leaving the A bomb site alone. They hadn't lost a player at the time, and well, Belgian Power quickly fall. And we can't comment too much on how the early round went there because we didn't get to see the first 15 seconds. But from what we saw, Belgian Power again, no control over the A bomb site. GCPW just straight away able to get control of it.
Well, I'll say this much. If Genesis doesn't win that first gunfight, that turns into a different 2v1. So, I mean, it just comes down to the fact that as much as the A site does seem like it is the easier site to get a plant off on, if you don't do it cleanly, the defense does have a lot of room to work with. I mean, because from the front, you obviously know what to expect, but you still have the ability of quickly rotating through the middle of the map and also playing that long flank. And with lessened numbers from the offensive side of things, you know, it can be difficult to hold. So that gunfight at the very beginning really kind of determines who wins and who loses. Genesis finding the first is everything, I think, for GCPW, holding on to that post plant. And now it's going to be on to Belgian Power trying to find an offense of their own. Very casual, very patient so far, similar to what they did in their first offense on our first restart, where they were just trying to feel things out, and they eventually went over to this A site.
And GCPW, they have control of A. I love this defensive play from them, holding on to it. PE will draw first blood. Abuser with the trade. Belgian Power haven't been scared off just yet. Maple going in for it. PD's going to win the fight. Gets away. Crucially, Genesis there for the cover. Nice backup play here from PT and Genesis. Leaves Linny stranded. And a 1 versus 3. Got to pull out the heroics now as GCPW got 5-3 in a search and destroy. Not a good position to be in.
I don't think anyone's heard him, though. And, well, now Chain will get the information. Wallbangs won't connect. Yeah, tough situation here for Lenny. You don't really have a great option to beat. You're obviously very much so not want to go versus the SMGs at A. So it's going to have to be something special here from Lenny. Not going to happen.
Just no. Yeah, it's really tough to win those 1 versus 3s, isn't it? When you're in that position. I think if he gets the first kill inside Kebab, that becomes a much more manageable situation where maybe you can start to splinter off the last 2 remaining players, but just doesn't happen. 1 versus 3. Not today. Now GCPW have some room to breathe here in this search and destroy.
Key moment as well. PD's down to 1 HP. He throws a Semtex to give him some space, but Genesis rotates in aggressively to make sure he also stays safe. That little bit of help right there was actually really key to GCPW holding on to that A site. Really, really impressive stuff that we kind of got to see there from the kill cam.
Well, they've been together, what, for, I want to say 2 stages now? They played together last stage, for sure, and doing pretty well off the back of it. It might be 3, as a matter of fact. So they've got some serious chemistry, those 2 together. GCPW with PD and Genesis. Foundation for this squad, and it's working out at the moment. Both 3-0 after the restart here. GCPW, at the moment here on the offense, just trying to get a feel for what Belgian Power are doing. Linny in the back line has a couple of gunfights on hand. Linny will back away. And not the worst player in the world, is it really, for Linny? Just making sure, better safe than sorry.
And this is where Belgian Power has struggled in the past. Once they get an additional read, how do they adjust and they change? And actually, beyond that, Brenson's actually going to try to pin out some players deep, and that's going to cost the entire A site. It's a bit risky, a bit greedy, you might say. And now Belgian Power have to fight back a 2v3. Bomb is down mid-map, but Genesis sneaking up, and Grandma's going to find a free kill.
Yeah, no way. No way does Linny win that fight. GG's, yeah. GCPW. Well, that's a tale of 2 search destroys, isn't it? Before the restart, GCPW 3-3 with Belgian Power, but after that, GCPW kicked it up a notch, found another gear, and well able to win it 6-3 here in Search and Destroy. And yeah, I mean, we kind of talked already about the first 6 rounds of play where GCPW and Belgian Power were making mistakes. It felt like GCPW, they rectified quite a lot of that in those last 3 rounds, which is insane to me.
GCPW is playing a little bit more proactively, I feel like, throughout this Search and Destroy than what we saw from Belgian Power. Although I will say, it's like, you know, again, that last moment that we just saw right there on screen, Lenny gets a really good read that, hey, there are 2 players that are hitting me through back gas on this back alley. I'm going to back up. I need a little bit of help. But the thing about it is they don't really retake anything around Grandma's or front side tank. They kind of just sit back towards their spawn, and then they send the 2 A defensive members to push through A. The problem was the entire play was not through back alley. That was just GCPW testing the defense a little bit, seeing if they could find an opening. That point of contact favors the offense because you're essentially forcing the defense to have to respond to you the entire time. Whether or not there's a kill doesn't really make a difference. The fact is you've backed up the sole defender from alley. The rest of your team could be anywhere. And the fact that you start to see Brezzy start to make a challenge out through A, right into what GCPW was expecting, that, hey, we'll push them on this side, kind of smoke them out of A, see if they get aggressive, which they do, and Belgian Power gets denied. So it's another moment where it feels like that little bit of early proactivity has just been favoring GCPW. And Belgian Power, we asked the question, how are they going to adjust? That time it's trying to get aggressive through the A site, and that just wasn't available to them. They already used all of their early stuns and nades. They couldn't see what was over the top of the middle of the map. So it was kind of a blind counter, and it didn't really work out for them.
Well, GCPW 6-3 victory on Search and Destroy puts them 2-0 up in the series now, Shift. I mean, what? Last time around, it was game 5 between these guys. Belgian Power came out on top there. Let's take a look at our map set then to see how the remainder of this series will actually be put together. Now, again, just a reminder for everybody at home, there's not all that much that's different in this series from the last time these two teams faced off. As a matter of fact, just the one map, and that's going to be Garrison Hardpoint, that could come up in map number 4. As for the next one, this is the raid control that was played in the last series between these two teams. There, it was a 3-2 victory for GCPW.
Yeah, control has been a really interesting conversation point because, again, I'm looking back to the times that we've casted GCPW, we've casted this Belgian Power squad, and the same thing that we said about Search and Destroy, we could say about control, where the first dimension of what they're trying to put together is actually really well thought out. It's just what happens when things start to go wrong. How do you adjust? How do you adapt to put yourself in a position to actually capitalize on some of the favorable moments that are actually existing on the map? And that's where things get pretty hairy. And I think that's where we really start to see the polish and the execution at the top level, not just in the CDL, but also with some of the top teams in Europe that become really, really notable. And it really does kind of unveil itself to showcasing why some of these teams are at the top. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of figuring out all those conversations that have to happen, looking at all the different situations that could lead up to a particular execute or a particular retake when it comes to control are variable. I mean, they're very varied, which is weird to say because very varied. But it's down to those key decision-making moments that these teams start to falter a bit, and that's where you really have to try to find that success because simple opening kills sometimes aren't enough, even though it looks like it in the kill feed. How you're taking advantage of the map, what positions you have available to you, those are where the decisions are either won or lost when it comes to the control point itself.
Yeah, for sure, right. And talking about raid control generally, we always kind of mention this as a point when it comes to this map. This is a pretty SMG heavy map in terms of, you know, the freedom that you're going to be looking to get. Your SMG is going to be absolutely key to the play here. And you know, looking at the balance between GCPW and Belgian Power, we actually had this discussion last time. I remember before we got into the map, we were talking about the SMG prowess of these two rosters. And you look at a team such as Belgian Power, for example, and they actually have some serious SMG power on the roster. Maybe not in the places you'd expect either. And a player I'm actually kind of looking at here is perhaps Abuser, who maybe in the past has run that AR, run that Krig 6 role, but can also be really mean with the SMG also.
Yeah, he's been flexing, I would say, like no matter what team he finds himself on, pretty much all season long. And I think it really goes to show that, you know, he's a player that deserves the attention. I mean, when the Los Pepes team that came through in stage 3, they were really, really good. I mean, Fusion's another one of those guys, obviously not playing in this lobby, but another one of those guys that I think really stole my attention and some that a conversation should surround. So we'll see if Abuza can really be one of those catalysts for success here for Belgian Power. You know, in the past, we've talked about how they do like to run a lot of SMGs, but they've also run stuff like this where they come out with 3 ARs, if not 4 ARs off the start, just to try to put some extra pressure at long range. That's going to be the case here early. It's just going to be Brezzy with an SMG to start. He's found his way into kitchen.
Oh, it's a nice kill coming in from PE to make sure Brezzy doesn't get any further up the map. PE's still an ever-present danger here for Maple and Abuser, who have decided to go for this point early on. They won't get anything off the back of it, but Belgian Power still spawn out over towards Kitchen, or over towards Bedroom, sorry. It's Belgian Power now trying to have their options open. They've got a player on 8, and they also have progress over towards Open Steps.
This is where these ARs can be very difficult to deal with. You just watch crossing angles. It should nothing but guarantee this A zone. But the question is going to be, you know, Brez is going to need help. And we said that before when they run this setup. And there it is. Abuz is going to make the swap over to the SMG. Okay, so it is just a preset determination as far as what zone they want to go to first. All 3 ARs did go over towards that A zone initially. So it's something that has been pre-designed. And it works out generally speaking. And now it's on to GCPW, knowing that they're going to concede this A zone. What will the zone of B look like? And by that, I mean not just the zone itself, but what this forward players start to do. Because you've got Genesis and Chain all the way through over towards Garage already.
GCPW have got themselves pretty far pushed up here in terms of the defense. Belgian Power here in kind of a weird flip situation. They have control of basketball. They have control of jungle. Coming in from behind, they go. If they get rid of the presence in bedroom, GCPW might find themselves in a spot of bother. And now they may well have done it. Linny onto the point inside basketball. Oh, Chain with 2. And Linny and Maple separate themselves out a little bit there. Chain able to pick them off. Chain with a 3rd as well. That's a 5 killing spree for Chain. GCPW saved themselves from a bit of a risky spot.
I don't know about the call from Belgian Power. They've got one player, actually 2 technically, that were trying to deal with the player that was pushed through in Garage, but they had bedroom control the entire way through. And the 2 players that were on the zone decide, instead of holding on and stalling the clock, they push forward, trying to essentially play egregiously on the other side of the map. And I think it's one that will come back to cost them, because they were in a point of control. Yeah, you weren't able to fully deal with the GCPW member by Garage, but you had a really solid setup to just stall the clock and maybe even find a couple of kills as you force GCPW's defense to converge on the zone itself. So an interesting decision, but it does end up at least being recovered by GCPW, and now a chance to go into an 8-11 versus 40 seconds on the clock.
Kitty picks up 2 kills once again, removes all that Belgian Power pressure, and might come back to pick themselves after that earlier misplay. Belgian Power right now, 25 seconds left on the clock. You got to ask questions of whether or not they're able to get on the point. PD in the mid-map. Looking to pick up those gunfights. Linny can't get through. PT a problem here in the mid-map. Now on a 5 spree as well. Brezzy does take him down before the round ends. Maple picks up another one. There might be a last chance hurrah here from Belgian Power. That's 1 more kill. Is anybody going to try and touch this point? Abuser's going to go for it. He's the only player to try it. Belgian Power, I mean, look, they only have 3 players left there towards the end, but still, yeah, I don't know. GCPW there on the defense just doing pretty good,
right here.
They do get gifted.
It's this moment. Linny and Maple don't need a challenge right here. There's no reason to. You've already got I mean, you see Abuza, he's already playing from open stairs. They dealt with the GCPW defensive member in Garage. And I think if you just allow him to stay either open stairs to play through kitchen, or more importantly, just top bedroom, you can just hold those 2 members on through Tiki and just on the zone itself to stall the clock. I just think that's a little bit over aggressive, trying to take it. I see what the call is. I mean, if you're going to know that, okay, we don't really have as much of a stationary setup as we'd like through top bedroom, let's try to take away basketball from them. I get that. And then the players that eventually get the clearance of that 1 member can come through and be the ones on the zone. But just, it feels like a pretty silly challenge in the scheme of things when you have the clock already not all that favorable. Opening hit for GCPW, not going to be successful either as they try to full stack through pool.
GCPW going to have to revert to the old faithful here. Straight towards A they go. Brezzy's not going to put a stop to this one. Wailers has his number. Belgian Power, I think, if anything here, might just be better off trying to reposition for exit frags. I mean, there is still an opportunity here for Abuser to cause some problems in from behind. He is doing exactly that. That's his 2nd kill now, where GCPW should really have had this point captured by now. Abuser still causing problems. How has he not been dealt with right now? Inside R, Abuser will finally go down. GCPW will finally capture the zone. Abuser almost caused quite a few problems there. The
decision now for GCPW is they need to decide where exactly they want to go. That's the big thing. So not having any bedroom control, it's got to be a play through kitchen or from the back. This is looking really, really positive, and they do deal with Linny. So now the question for GCPW, now that you have this situation and this position, is how do you deal with the proximal spawns from Belgian Power as they're going to be stacked in basketball?
Well, they're going to get done it pretty quickly here. Brezzy able to pick up 2. That's huge. Him there, able to pick up 2, and GCPW sent right back to square 1, aka their spawn. We're going to go through kitchen. Linny here to deal with it. You've got Abuser coming over from pillars also, but Wailers does deal with it. So PE gets through, and now can GCPW start to pick up some time here?
Well, they do have Maple up top still. That's going to be a big problem for GCPW. They do deal with it, but it does allow some moments of recovery for GCPW. PD, this is a heads-up play, just trying to stay prone, stay away from the action, but he does get stunned. Now Brezzy through the middle, as he's actually completely cut off these rotations. It actually gives Belgian Power a chance to reinstall their defense, and they do so very nicely. 17 plays up against 12, and Belgian Power looking to take over the map.
They got the positioning to do it. Abuser sat in this corner. GCPW should technically check this as they exit. Whaler's going to throw the Semtex towards. Will make him move out of that position. In from behind, here comes Brezzy. Picks up 2. GCPW feel once again uncomfortable. Now, luckily for them, nobody from Belgian Power is inside bedroom as it currently stands. So they spawn a little bit further up than maybe Belgian Power would like. But still, 35 seconds on the clock now. 6 players left for GCPW. Not a lot of lives to work with here, Shift.
No, and the spawn location is negligible for Belgian Power's POV. You've got such a good stranglehold. You're forcing GCPW to have to play through bedroom. And look, you've already got a Buza in window. You've already got Maple down low with an AR. That should be a pretty solid defense, but the kills do allow an opening, and GCPW is going to be able to touch and try to stall off this clock.
Resi should be able to come in behind and deal with it. There you go. There's the first kill. Will effectively stop the play. Second as well. Genesis, last player left up, should get shot through. There you go. Abuser switches to the Diamante to get it done. Styling on. Why not? Belgian Power end up winning the round. And it's kind of unfortunate there for GCPW because in a sense, I mean, they just kept on going for it. Couldn't get past. And by the time they managed to get something working together, they'd run out of lives.
Yeah, and it's a lot of the recovery after this A zone gets captured that really kind of was, I think, very typical from Belgian Power's POV. They retake over the middle of the map after the push through comes through jungle and kitchen. They get themselves into a position to never really give too much control away at B. And then once they eventually clear, they completely get over into art. I mean, it forces GCPW to have to play from one part of the map, which is never what you want on an offensive side of things when there's only one zone to play for. So really good recovery for Belgian Power, allows them a chance to get their defense back in fold pretty much evenly as well, by the way, through those first 2 rounds. And now a chance for them to get things going on the offense. Not a great opening, as there was just an opening set nade that essentially turns this play around from the get-go.
Belgian Power looking to get control of A early on here. GCPW, they have some designs on bedroom. Unfortunately, Whalers, or Genesis, sorry, will get taken down. So Belgian Power have an opportunity, despite not making any progress on A, to make their way over towards B. Brezzy wins the first fight. Linny wins his as well. And Belgian Power now, with an opening, turn around, deal with Pity. You'll be fine and dandy.
Petey's in a great spot, though. He just needs to put a little bit of pressure on. You might have to give up a tick of progress here, depending on how these kills start to go, as Belgian Power do still have the middle of the map with Kitchen in their favor. And uh-oh, that's not great news. Petey's now the last hope. He's going to be able to track down 1. Can he track down 1? No, he's going to get away. This is actually great news here for Belgian Power. Forces Petey out. He will find a second elimination, but that's going to be all he finds, as this B zone is going to find some progress.
He does waste some time there. Perhaps a little enough here for GCPW to regain control of the point. And there it is. Genesis comes from mid, able to pick up at least 2 from open stairs. That will effectively neuter the play entirely. Belgian Power, of course, spawning up over towards Drivo. The natural thing you do is make your way over towards A. PE in from behind, though, trying to channel his inner abuser to try and stop the play. It won't happen. And GCPW now at this point looking for some exit frags.
Yeah, it's a good recovery from GCPW, but it comes at a cost, right? And that's the one thing I think defensively you just have to be okay with. You know, you take something back, you have to give up something else. That should be fine. But the problem here is defensively, you are down lives. Genesis is going to be tested in kitchen, only able to find 1, but he does at least get a read on the play, and GCPW will recover. And this is a big moment right now because you've got PD who can take over Art. You still have some pressure from Genesis mid-map, and if you can find some more success on the kill feed, this could turn into a really big spawn trap, but not quite going to be there. The aggressive gets stopped, and now Belgian Power can turn things around against them.
They absolutely can. How does GCPW respond to this one? They're going to reposition here. PE falls inside ring. That's going to be huge, as Belgian Power now have locked GCPW down to just this side of the map. Another kill for Brezzy. Another kill for Brezzy. Belgian Power just a few ticks of progression away. PE and Chain, what can you do about it? Chain falls, just PE, you need to jump into Neverland. Belgian Power stack the point, and that's a lovely play. GCPW, there is a shining light there of hope of maybe a flank coming in, but as soon as that is shut down, it's done and dusted.
Yeah, it's really just comes down to that little play in the middle of the map where GCPW recover nicely after they lose the A zone, and then you start to see what they want to do. They want to get aggressive, and to be fair, the ability for them to do that is there. They've got the ability of getting in towards the middle of the map. They've got the ability of getting into Art. But the fact of the matter is they lose their 1s, and Belgian Power is able to take that aggression and throw it right back into GCPW's face. And then instead of GCPW getting a zone over towards the offensive spawns, it's Belgian Power that are putting pressure not only on the B zone, but also on your spawns as well, forcing you to spawn out by Laundry. So it's a really nice bounce back moment from Belgian Power, but you have to give credit to GCW play. It was good. It just didn't find the kills it needed.
GCPW, on a B they go. This would be a good start for them here in this control. Belgian Power, how do you react to this? Genesis in a power position to put a stop to them. No, they thought they had Kitchen down. Genesis, surprise, surprise. Hello, I'm still here. GCPW, at least 2 ticks of aggression now. I don't know if Belgian Power are going to be able to stop this, to be honest. You need to go now if you're going to. Maple going to check the acute angle. Will deal with 1, deals the second as well. But B is gone. It's done. GCPW managed to capture it.
That was so close to being absolutely miserable for Belgian Power, because I think all insinuations would be, hey, we can still challenge this. We had a couple of players that spawned nearby, but it was a split hit from GCPW. The last two players on B were the only two players responsible for capturing. The spawns for GCPW were so favorable towards the driveway that they tried to get a play on at A. So again, another moment where Belgian Power, they're tested, but they bounce back nicely. And now it's just down to, can they hold this zone around the A point?
GCPW starting to build up the pressure in from behind. Brezzy has so much to do here. How much of it can he get done? Only one kill. So GCPW now coming in from behind. You deal with Linny. This should be okay. He decides to just run straight to the point. Maybe a mistake there. Genesis takes him down, and now GCPW, the progression is here.
This is so dire for Belgian Power. You need to find success from Brezzy from behind, and he gets two. Absolutely brilliant, plus a third. Brezzy saves the day from Belgian Power. Linny will clean up Petey, and a minute 30 on the clock. Lives back to even.
There's still a long way to go here in this round, though. GCPW have at least 3 or more hits hit to put together before this one is done, and that's going to be 3 kills there in a row for GCPW. As now, I think they just changed their path entirely. They were going to go for a full-on flank. They realized with those wave of kills that, hey, we may as well go straight direct to the point. And to do the point they go. Linny with 2, though. Inside Laundry. Whalers is here, though, to check the cross. As people cross, they should run into the AR of Linny and that Whalers, sorry. And that's exactly what they do. GCPW. Just one tick of progression away now. Petey deals with the final kill, and there it is. GCPW force a round 5 here in control.
Linny nearly does enough. I mean, that's incredible from him up top. But this play from behind for Brezzy, it's just, again, the middle of the map was open the entire time. That's the thing when you have got a team like GCPW, who in those circumstances, you know, you get this play over towards B, it's successful. Then you spawn driveway. They don't ever really retake the middle of the map. They just start flooding in towards the A zone. So that flank is consistently open, and Brezzy makes use of it, try to stall off the initial, and Linny nearly able to do the same from the front the second time around. So 2-2, round 5. Belgian Power will get the defense. They've got 2 players try to push aggressive in the middle of the map.
GCPW. They're going to capture A early on here. Abuse, they're trying to get this gunfight against Genesis. No matter how many bullets he puts in, though, just cannot finish that gunfight. Chain's hunting from in the mid-map. Abuser almost outplays him. And to be fair, I think to a certain extent, he absolutely does. But Chain ends up winning the 1v1 anyway. And now for Belgian Power, you'd be foolish to try and approach this anymore.
They're all good here when it comes down to just setting up this aggressive zone around the B zone. The big issue is, can you win these gunfights versus Petey and Shane, both of which have been playing very, very well. They find one, not the second. That's your flanker that's down. So now you're going to get Petey, who spawns up right in front of Bedroom, and they can actually pinch this zone. This is a dangerous situation for Belgian Power. They need to respond to these kills in the back.
Indeed they do. Well, to be fair, they've done exactly that. Nice kills coming in here for Belgian Power to get that done. Unfortunately for them, though, Petey picks up this kill on Linny, opens up a lane to GCPW to make some progression onto the point. Brezzy, though, from the mid-map. Brezzy again! He's been electric. Picks up yet another 2-piece. That will relinquish some pressure on the point. Whalers is still here. We'll end up picking up another kill here. And just when you think GCPW quieting down, they always find a way back in. Belgian Power, what is your response? Brezzy picks up one, can't do any more.
Yeah, you just got to play off chain here. If you're GCPW, you're just continuing to spawn and then run through Bedroom. And this is what I mean when it comes down to the first dimension of this hit for GCPW was so good. But what do you do once it starts to be met with some resiliency? You can't just keep flooding through bottom Bedroom like this. Set something up. You've got a world of time, and they just give away 5 straight kills? Oh, it's so sloppy from GCPW. I mean, now they're starting to make a play in a different part of the map, but it comes at such a steep cost.
GCPW running out of lives, running out of chances here to get this one done, and to an extent running out of time also. 55 seconds left on the clock for GCPW to make a successful hit. They've managed to get 2 players in behind enemy lines. Linny, of course, aware of it. Is he aware that there's more than one, though? That's going to be the question. Brezzy, well, that's kind of like a double flank, isn't it? Able to get a player there, takes down PT, but GCPW have flipped the map. What can they do with it, Shift?
Linny spawns a lot closer to GCPW than they expect. Oh, no. I mean, that right there, it just, that's what I mean when I talk about it. It's GCPW. Their hit towards B has so much early success, but they keep spawning up a Bedroom and keep flooding, thinking they're eventually just going to win the trade game and they'll eventually get back onto B. It's not going to happen at this level. and it takes them not just 30 seconds, but it costs them about 10 different lives to make the play around to go to jungle. Like if that would have happened initially and not just played for trades front of bedroom, they could have maybe found some more success to get a play going to actually see that B zone, but it just doesn't come through, and Belgium Power will stay alive in the series because of it.
It's exactly the same problem that you and I were talking about in the very last time that these two teams faced off, and I don't know. It's just like these guys have problems finishing, and I mean I don't even mean that in a tongue-in-cheek way. It really does feel like what they had 2 minutes 20 there. Maybe we could say that Belgian Power just had a really strong defense, but it really does feel like GCPW, they had a few opportunities there in round number 5 to get it done, and they just couldn't. It really is that simple. And well, Belgian Power stay alive in our series shift.
Yeah, it's one of those things though that you have to look beyond just this individual series. Like the winner of this one still has to play up against, I believe, Team War, as Elevate took a 2-0 win versus them in the first 2 maps very convincingly, and I believe they also took the checkmate control for a 3-0. So I mean, to go up against Team War, depending on who wins the series, you can't be making mistakes like this. And I hate to harp on it so late into the season, but hopefully if the players go back and rewatch, they'll see those moments and be like, yo, we really do need to look at this, because we really did. They just gave away like 9 straight kills for no good reason. It just took so long to put something back together for GCPW. And this is after a very successful look at that B zone. I mean, they had Belgian Power stretched pretty thin throughout different moments of that 5th round. Just came down to they gave back too much, and Belgian Power never let them get it back any sort of map possession really whatsoever. So that does lead us to a map 4, but I believe, Brody, the mainstream will be taking over this this match from here on out. So we'll have to go over there to watch the conclusion.
Yeah, enough of us here on the community stream, effectively. Of course, the rest of the coverage for tonight's Call of Duty Challenges Elite European Knockout Stage for stage number 5 will continue over at youtube.com/COD Challenges, a channel you should be subscribed to anyway, since that's the hub for Call of Duty Challenges this season. But for us here on the casting desk on the community broadcast, that's it. This is the last European community broadcast of the regular season, Alan. It's been a fun one.
Yeah, it sure has been. There's still a lot to come, hopefully, for the postseason. So, stay tuned with all of our socials to figure out how exactly we're going to go about covering all of the stuff happening before just the winners finals, losers finals, and grand finals. So more to come, but we'll finish things off with the mainstream. So enjoy it.
Yeah, all right, guys. Well, that's going to be... Oh, okay.
Now I can see what's worth fighting for. We're holding the keys to our